let's talk about some minimal-ish habits you can start in 2021. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen and I wanted to share with you some of the minimal-ish habits that I have picked up over the past year or two. Once I really started focusing on living a more intentional life, that kind of got the wheels turning and got me motivated to want to purge my house of all of the clutter and all of the unnecessary stuff. And I really started getting hooked on the concept of minimalism, except minimalism itself is a little bit too rigid for me. So I kind of take minimalism and do it my own way. So I like to say I am minimal-ish. So I thought it would be fun to share with you today some of the minimal-ish habits I have picked up in hopes that you can adopt them in your life as well and really relieve some of the stress and overwhelm in your life. So the first habit is I stopped keeping all the stuff I wasn't actively using. And what I mean by that is a lot of times I'll switch up different decor in my home, or for example, I got a new paper towel holder, just little things like that. And there's nothing wrong with the original piece. Maybe we wanted it to be functional in a different way, or we decided to go for a different look, or our taste change. So I would take that stuff and put it somewhere in my house, usually on a shelf in the basement, because it was perfectly good and I just hated to get rid of it. I always had the feeling, what if I want to use it again, right? Then I'd have to go out and buy it again and spend the money all over again. And I always had this feeling, this guilty feeling that I was just wasting. But here's what started to happen. Even though it was in the basement and it was organized, over time, it just started to accumulate too much stuff. And also over time, it became clear to me that once my taste changed, I very rarely go back to the tastes I had in the past or the style I had in the past. So it was just sitting down there accumulating dust. So I really dug in the past few months and went through everything in the basement and decided to give it away or donate it. And it's just taken such a weight off my shoulders. Now I just keep a donation bin somewhere in my home. And when I have items that I'm not going to use, whether it be household things or even clothing, I put it all in that bin. And when it fills up, I drop it at the donation center and it doesn't pile up in my house anymore. And habit number 2 goes along with habit number 1. And that is I've stopped keeping clothes in the hopes that I'm going to get back into them. And what I found is, number 1, I rarely get back into them. And even if I do get back to that size, I find that more often than not, my tastes have changed and I don't even really like the item anymore. Or maybe I just don't feel comfortable in the item anymore. Another thing I've noticed is doing this seems to keep us in this perpetual cycle of being dissatisfied with our body, of always feeling like we're not doing enough, of always feeling unhappy with ourselves, our body, and where we are, and it prevents us from moving forward. So I don't want to be stuck in the past, and I don't want you to be stuck in the past either. So it's time to get rid of all of those clothes that we are hoping to get back into one day. And if and when we get back to that size, we can treat ourselves with some new clothing that makes us feel good and helps us love our bodies. Tip number 3 is to create a place for everything. I mean everything, even down to the smallest little thing. When it has its own home, you will notice a couple things. Number 1, it's going to reduce clutter, of course, because everything is going to have its own little place instead of having a tendency to just pile up in different areas of your home. And it's also going to allow you to just keep up with the straightening up, the cleaning up. It's going to make you a lot more willing to put things away as you go throughout your day instead of waiting until a mess accumulates. And that is because we know exactly where everything goes and we can quickly and easily access it and return it back to its home. Tip number 4 is to become more intentional with your spending. Now, this is something we've been working on for years, and I know personally I'll always be a work in progress when it comes to spending because I am a spender at heart. But being more intentional with what you're spending looks like creating a list. So create and maintain a running list of everything you need or want, but make sure everything you plan on purchasing goes on that list. And then when you are shopping, whether it's online or in person, if it's not on your list, don't purchase it. So your list becomes permission to purchase. Your list means that you've already given this item thought, you've already asked the questions, do I really need this? Will I actually use this? Is it worth the money to me? And is it in my budget? And if the answer to all those questions are yes, then go ahead and put it on your list. And once it's on your list, that means you have permission. You've given yourself permission ahead of time. You've been intentional. You've planned. Go ahead and purchase it. What this does is it helps you eliminate all that spontaneous spending, which often leads to buyer's remorse and feeling guilty about spending money that you didn't need to. Tip number 5 is to clear your digital clutter. Now, I suggest you do this on a specific schedule. I do mine at the end of every month and usually at the end of a big project. So, for example, every time I edit a YouTube video, I accumulate a lot of screenshots, a lot of different graphics that I need, a lot of video clips, and once I'm completely done with the video, it's up, it's scheduled, and it goes live on YouTube, then I will go back in and clean out all of the clutter that I don't need anymore from that video. But at the end of the month, I love to go in and purge my email. I love to go in and purge everything unneeded or unwanted on my desktop. I love to purge all my photos from my phone and my computer, and I do that by just uploading them all to Google Photos, and then I can clear them off my actual devices and know that they are safe. Then I go through and take anything else I need and I move it to an external hard drive for safekeeping, and then I go ahead and trash whatever I don't need. So monthly works well for me and my particular schedule, but this is something you could do quarterly or even weekly. But clearing all of that digital clutter allows you to have a more streamlined, a more organized, a more clutter-free workspace and helps you be more productive. Tip number 6 is to create margin in your space. So this can be your home, it can be your car, it can be your desk at work, wherever it is that feels cluttered or overcrowded to you. Often this can make us feel anxious and claustrophobic. A couple other places you may want to create space in would be your closet, drawers throughout the house, and even end tables. It's okay to not have every surface covered in objects. And depending on your personal style, this may take some getting used to. So if you're someone who just really likes a lot of knickknacks, a lot of things everywhere, that's okay. But if you're often feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and rushed, give this tip a try. And tip number 7 is to actually edit what comes into your home before it comes in. So this could look like saying no to your great aunt who offers you her old recliner. And I know, especially if you're a people pleaser like I am, saying no to things that people want to give you or people want to buy for you can be really hard, especially if you know their love language is giving gifts and they just want to do it out of love and make you happy. If it's something that you're going to be bringing into your home and it's going to add extra stress or it's going to add extra time for you to manage or maintain, it's okay to say no. And the same thing goes with clothing or other items. If it's not something you truly love, don't bring it into your home. It's very likely it will never be used and it will just end up sitting there and make it so you have to take your time to purge it and donate it or get rid of it at a later date. So save yourself the trouble and don't even let it come into your home in the first place. Those were my 7 minimal-ish habits that I've been incorporating into my life, and it's made such a difference for me. Let me know in the comments if you already have any of these minimal-ish habits or which habit you think would make the biggest impact in your life. I love hearing from you guys. I appreciate you so much for watching today. I would love if you would take a second and like this video and share it with a friend who may need to hear this. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.